This is the book of Revelation, chapter 11, verse 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Shalom, shalom. Before I begin this lesson, I want to give all praise, honor, and the glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles, bishop, and elders of Great Millstone that rule well, and peace and blessings be multiplied on all you brethren that's teaching this word in all sincerity and in truth. Shalom to the elect, 144,000, and the rest of the elect out there, shalom. I'm the brother Dama Agabar, here with another lesson, Lord willing to edify through the spirit and power of Yahweh by Yahweh Shai. All right, hey, and that third woe, which is going to be this third world's war, hey, it's coming quickly. All right, and as we can see, I got this article here, which is showing you that, hey, this war with Iran and Israel is getting back hot. Like it says here in this article from Zero Hedge, return to war. And you see, and this is something that's going to continue to happen, this war with Iran, this war with Israel and the United States, that war with Ukraine and Russia is getting very hot because we're living in the times to where, these two wars, these two situations are going to eventually lead to the third war. It's going to lead to this third world's war, which is back and it's hot and it's heavy. And we hope and pray this time that it continues to stay hot and heavy, and that it doesn't de-escalate, but that it continues to escalate, so that prophecy can be fulfilled. All right, but that's us hastening the times. That's us, wanting this thing to reach its height, so ultimately we can get the hell up out of here. We can be delivered, so that Yahweh Shai can come back and to judge and to make war on these nations as they're fighting in the midst of this third world's war, which is known as the valley of Jehoshaphat, which is Yahweh Shabbat, Yahweh's judgment, where he's going to come back and send our Lord and Savior to judge these nations, as you read in the book of Revelation, the 19th chapter. But as we know also as well, that, these situations tend to get hot and then they'll die down, then they'll, get hot again. Right now Trump is talking big shit, but then again, at the same time, he's telling you, well, we can still have peace talk. So we know it's kind of a roller coaster. This third world's war is like a roller coaster prophecy. It gets hot and it gets cold and it heats up again and it kind of dies down. But, we're hoping that this time, the Lord doesn't turn the heat down. But at the same time, if he does, hey, that's just how prophecy works. We're just going to have to wait. But in between time, it's still our job and our duty to speak on these things, because we know ultimately that this is going to lead to the third world's war. All right. And we know that it's going to lead to Jeremiah, the 49th chapter. Matter of fact, let me get that. It's going to lead to this Jeremiah, the 49th chapter that we always go into, Jeremiah 49 and 20, where it says, therefore hear the counsel of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai that he have taken against Edom, and his purposes that he have purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them, which is ultimately dealing with the so-called small hats, the 1948ers, those Israelis. They're going to eventually draw America into this third world's war concerning the situation with Iran. As they continue their bombing campaigns, as they continue the tit for tat, eventually, we can't tell you exactly what it's going to be, the exact date or the time, but we know a situation is going to occur to where, these Israelis are going to do something so drastic and so crazy that is going to force, Iran or Russia or one of the allies of Iran and Russia, to do something to where it's going to draw America fully into this conflict, to where it's going to be all out war. This third world's war will be ultimately declared, and it's going to lead ultimately to the United States and Israel ultimately being destroyed via this third world's war, via nuclear destruction, these nuclear missiles. Okay. So this is why we're constantly keeping our eye on this situation. All right. So it says, return to war. Iran fires ballistic missiles at Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, Jordan, after U.S. struck 170 Iranian targets. You see? So, America is very much involved in this war on behalf of the small hats. You see? And they're going to continue to be involved. You just recently had that NATO summit to where, Trump was bad mouthing some of the NATO allies, Germany, Spain, I forget the other country, but at the same time praising Turkey, which is a NATO ally. But at the same time, NATO doesn't really like Israel. But at the same time, Turkey is playing both sides. And we know prophetically that Turkey is going to eventually join on the sides of Russia and eventually, bringing that Jeremiah, the 49th chapter to pass. So there's a lot of moving parts in this prophecy, man. But we know ultimately the grand scheme is that it's going to lead to this third world war, man. And so this is why we're constantly hoping and praying that this thing continues to escalate and takes it to the level to where it needs to go so that prophecy can be fulfilled. But we know also, too, that the mark of the beast, the micro-Sihib, is going to have to come first before this third world's woe really pops off. But at the same time, hey, both of these things are hot and heavy in the news. Both of these things are not tarrying, they're coming to pass. And it's our, and we're just watching it and we're reporting on it because we know eventually, it's going to get to the point of no return. So let's check out some of this article. It says, just as the U.S. nightmare strikes were significantly bigger than prior rounds in June, so has Iran's retaliation been bigger, chiefly on Gulf states and America bases there. It says, in the overnight and Thursday daytime hours, Iranian ballistic missiles and drones have targeted Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain, and even faraway Jordan. The country is reporting that it has intercepted several missiles which targeted, I ain't even going to try to say that, Salty Air Base, jointly operated by U.S. and Jordanian forces. Oil prices have persisted above pre-war levels on Thursday, you see? And like I said, I didn't say it, but, like I've said before in the past, hey, and this war is going to lead to more devastation on the American economy. It's really going to leave America in pretty much worse shape than it already is. It's going to lead to more, higher prices at the pump, more higher prices of food, more economic downturn, more, the people being frustrated, the people being angry. And it's ultimately, doing a hell of a job of bringing prophecy to pass, because it's going to eventually lead to, the sedition of America, the people against the government, and right now, polls here in America are saying that a lot of American citizens are saying that basically the only thing that's left for the people to do here in America is to get violent with the government, because they're not listening. They're not fixing the cost of living. They're not lowering the food prices. Everything that Trump is doing as far as this war with Iran is just making things worse, and everything in this society is crumbling, and none of the American citizens are supporting and are for this war. You see? But it's just, like I said, it's just ultimately just leading to the utter implosion and destruction of America. Its reputation, its name, its reputation, its economy, the morale of the people, you see. And it's also bringing shameful spewing on those tiny tops in Israel. And the Lord is doing a beautiful job of basically just making Esau Edom, the so-called white man, a laughing stock and more hated around the world and isolated on the world stage, which is going to eventually lead to a lot of the allies and those that are confederate with America, to turn on them and to burn this whore with fire, as it tells you in the book of Revelation. So, hey, there's a lot of moving pieces to this situation, and it's all beautiful, man, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. So it says, following the U.S. bombing of the Islamic Republic for a second consecutive night, which came after Iranian forces sought to enforce its own shipping route and protocol on the Strait of Hormuz, which saw several international vessels attacked, Tehran has newly confirmed, in turn, struck U.S. bases and strategic centers in Bahrain, Kuwait, and Qatar. In particular, the IRGC has claimed that 2 U.S. bases in Kuwait and 2 bases in Bahrain were attacked, and the Iranian elite force is threatening more to come. U.S. Central Command says the rate of its strikes have grown to about 14 times the number of targets hit in late last June flare-up in fighting, you see? So, hey, the bombing and the fighting it's intensifying. Like I said, it's only going to get more intense as we get closer into the end, and as the Most High, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, allow these things to happen, man. And you got Trump talking big shit. You got the Iranians talking, hey, you hit us, we're going to hit you back harder. You see? What else is in here? Yeah, it says Iranian source, Iranian. Oh yeah, and then also too, you just had those Iranian leaders just got buried the other day, and you had the Iranians chanting "Death to America," and ultimately, hey, the Iranians are totally prepared for this war. They've been planning and prepping for this for over almost 25 years, and they knew the day would come, and like I said, eventually it's going to just reach the point of no return. It's reaching a point now to where negotiations are useless. There's no point in negotiation with terrorists like the United States, man. And even if Iran and America do a memorandum like that MOU, or they come to agreement on terms, Israel has already said that they're going to sabotage the deal. So, hey, that Jeremiah 49 chapter is speaking, and we can see how prophecy is telling you that these small heads are going to draw America out. They're going to look. America's not getting out of this Israel-Iran situation. You know, they're in too deep. You know, Trump is already brought and paid for. Israel has too much dirt on this damn devil Trump, and he's going to continue to side with Israel even until the demise of Babylon the Great, to the demise of their relations with all of their neighbors. You know, you even got Trump still talking shit to NATO and to talking about we need to have Greenland, telling Denmark to piss off and you need to give it to us, and Denmark is saying no. So hey, the Lord is setting the stage beautifully for Babylon the Great, America, to be totally double crossed by its allies. Let's get that in Obadiah. All right. Where is it? Yeah, here we go. This is Obadiah 1:7. It says, I read it in the King James. It says, all the men of that confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee, and there is none understanding in him. You see, and this is why when you read in the book of Daniel, where it speaks about the iron mixed with the miry clay, you know, how they're not going to come together, that they don't mix and mesh well. That's pretty much America and its relationship with its allies, and NATO and its EU partners, and even some of the NATO allies, man. You got Trump over there spewing, talking big shit, talking about, oh, you know, when we needed NATO, some of the NATO countries to go to this war, they weren't there for us. I was testing them and they failed to test. So, you know, why should we be spending billions of dollars and helping them build them up militarily? We know we don't need them. So, like I said, man, hey, the Lord is doing a beautiful job prophetically and keeping these devils divided, man. And it's going to ultimately lead to the division and the isolation of America and Israel to be utterly destroyed, man. All right, what else is in here? It says the casualty count could be much higher given that the strikes and counterstrikes could be extended as an off-ramp becomes more elusive. Explosions have been observed along the Iranian coast, including Bushehr, Kandahar, and Bandar Abbas and Sirik. Yeah, these motherfuckers blowing up, attacking the towers. What else is in here? It says, as for potential off-ramp, Trump is still claiming that Tehran wants to make a deal badly, and even specified to reporters abroad Air Force One that Iran called a while ago make just a request, which those are all fucking lies and bullshit. So it's like, you know, everything you hear Trump say, it's all a bunch of lies. He said that they destroyed Iran's military. He destroyed their navy. Their military is completely broken, but they seem to be always firing back and counter-striking and blowing up American military bases in these different countries. So, you know, a lot of the shit that Trump be saying is complete bullshit and it's complete lies. And they're going to continue to lie to you people. They're never going to tell you what's truly happening over there. But one thing that we know for sure is that, you know, there ain't going to be no peace. There ain't going to be no negotiations. This shit is going to continue to spiral out of control. It's going to continue to get hot and hot until, hey, until the major players get involved. Russia, China, America, you know, Russia, Turkey, you know, their allies. Read Ezekiel the 38th chapter. You see? It says, what else is in here? It says most pundits and reporters, after hearing the same line literally dozens of times over the past months, are skeptical to say the least. While this remains Trump public-facing rhetoric, and a fresh Thursday report in the Wall Street Journal offers a contrasting account. Angered by the strikes, Trump pressed them on whether they believe Iran was serious about reaching a final deal. In the end, after discussing it with senior aides, the president decided they weren't. Yeah, ain't gonna be no goddamn deal, you know? And then, Trump be saying that shit just so that he could manipulate the markets. Tell him we're going to have a deal. Then all of a sudden gas prices go down and shit. It's just all bullshit. It's just all political mumbo jumbo, man. You see? It says, after for Tehran's position, an Iranian diplomat said Wednesday that the U.S. had violated the peace deal by setting up shipping lanes that wasn't coordinated with Tehran, contending that it justified the Islamic's report decision to fire at traffic, according to the same report. And this is why you don't make deal with terrorists, man. And this is something that Iran has to understand. There ain't no negotiation with the West, not negotiating with Trump, with America, or with the small hats, man. You can't negotiate with these devils. They're the deaf adder, man. Hey, they're a terrorist, man. Whatever deal you make, they're going to renege. They're going to backstab you. And we learned, and that's something that we learned. That's the MO of the so-called white man. Going back to all the treaties he made with the North American Indians, he's never going to stick to it, man, because he ultimately in his heart of heart feels that whatever he says goes, man, and whatever deal that he makes, it should totally benefit him and screw you over at the end of the day. So whatever deal he makes, you cannot expect this man to uphold any of it, because he's the devil that the Bible speaks of, man. You see? But this is why, hey, things are just gonna continue to spiral out of control. All right, like we keep saying, there ain't going to be no peace in the Middle East. This shit is going to lead to this third world's woe that we've been speaking about, all right? And this is 2 Ezra 16:1. Woe be unto thee, Babylon and Asia. Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria. Gird up yourselves with sack of cloth and hair. Bewail your children and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand. A sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it back? A fire is sent among you, and who may quench it? Plagues are sent unto you, and what is he that may drive them away? May any man drive away a hungry lion in the wood? Or may anyone quench the fire and stubble when it hath begun to burn? May one turn again the arrow that is shot of a strong archer. You see? And this is just, the Lord speaking about the destruction that's coming to Babylon, which is America, and Asia, which Asia is that whole region, the whole so-called Middle East. That's all Asia. That's the Middle East is bullshit. That never really existed. That's just something that the white man made up. But that whole region where all of this war, the Valley of Jehoshaphat, where the Iranians are, where all that war is taking place, is all Asia, man. And the Lord is telling you that, hey, its destruction is at hand, because it's going to lead to this third world's war. And that's where Yahweh Shai is going to come back and to judge all these nations as they're fighting this war. They're going to stop and fight him, and they're going to be broken without hand. It says, the mighty Lord sendeth the plagues, and who is he that may drive them away? And that major plague is going to be these nuclear missiles that's going to be shot, over in that area of the world, mainly upon, the state of Israel and upon Babylon the Great America, and various other parts of the world. It says, he shall cast lightnings, and who shall not fear? He shall thunder, and who shall not be afraid? The Lord shall threaten, and who shall not be utterly beaten to powder at his presence? The earth quaketh, and the foundations thereof. The sea ariseth up with waves from the deep, and the waves of it are troubled, and the fishes thereof also, before the Lord and before the glory of his power. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp. And what's those arrows? Those nuclear missiles, man. And remember, these missiles are the weapons of the Lord indignation. He created the waster to destroy. He gave man this technology to make these, nuclear missiles for his pleasure and for his judgment upon these nations, man. It says, for strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. This is why they're intercontinental ballistic missiles, man. And this is why the Lord has blessed Russia with the most sophisticated missiles of them all, man. These hypersonic missiles, the Satan II missiles, that Lorenzschnik, whatever that missile is called, as well as the missiles that China possesses. China was just testing missiles the other day off the Pacific, They got these missiles that could reach America in less than 30 minutes, man. And this is how, these arrows that are going to be shot are going to hit this place, and it's going to hit those small hats when all is said and done. It says, behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. The fire is kindled and shall not be put out till it consume the foundation of the earth. Like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer returneth not backward, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon the earth shall not return again. You see? And hey man, this is the stage that is being set with all of this war and these rumors of wars, man. It's going to ultimately lead to, you know, that prophecy coming to pass. All right, and this is Matthew 24 and 6. It says, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." You see? So these things they're going to happen, and they must happen to fulfill prophecy. It says, "For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows." You see? Hey, and this war, when it really gets hot, is going to lead to these things. It's going to lead to famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places, even more than we're already witnessing now. So again, man, hey, this is just more of these wars and threats of wars, but we know eventually it's going to lead to this third world's war, man. Hey, and we're praising Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai that you know, that this time it escalates into exactly where it needs to go, man. So hey, with that, Lord willing, this is edifying. And we give all praise, honor, glory to Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. And to the next one, shalom.